Hey, it's 65 degrees outside here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Sam Oppenheim, how is it looking like in Syracuse? 55, sunny? What's it looking like?
Not exactly, Corey. Thanks, Corey and Brad, as we welcome you into our WAER studios for Countdown to Tip-Off. It's snowy in Syracuse and freezing temperatures. I'm Sam Oppenheim. Thanks for joining us tonight for Syracuse-NC State. Remember, you can listen live on 88.3 FM, streaming online at WAER.org or through the WAER app. And make sure to follow us on social media at WAER Sports on Twitter for news and game updates. And it's the same handle for our SoundCloud account, where we post radio features and broadcast highlights. The guys were kind of just joking with me about this. Today is February 9th. The temperature outside is a brisk 25 degrees. I swear, we didn't talk about this beforehand. Saturday, the Orange were in South Carolina to face Clemson, and it was about 50 degrees around tip-off in the Palmetto State. But inside Little John Coliseum, Syracuse played like it was absolute zero.
Girard fires it to Dolezaj, right wing. He throws up a three. Doesn't go. Gary, a left block. Doesn't get a layup to go. Out of bounds off of P.J. Hull. It'll stay Syracuse basketball. That's a shot Gary has got to make under the basket. Dolezaj drives right alley. Spins past the defender. Misses a layup. Gary, the offensive rebound. He flips up a shot up and in from the left block. First made field goal today for Quincy Gary.
The first for Syracuse in about 10.5 minutes.
Get this, the Orange average about 27 made field goals per game. In Saturday's first half against the Tigers, SU converted on only 3. That's it. Syracuse registered a mere 19 first-half points, 12 of which came at the free throw line. SU shot 12% overall in that first, and you bet it's not a great sign when your free throws made in a half equal your percentage from the field. The floor is yours, Jim Boeheim.
This was just a really bad offensive first half that got us in too big of a hole, but I thought that these guys really battled back in the second half, really did everything they could to try to get back in the game.
Scoring improved in the second half, but nowhere close to the point of mounting a legit comeback. SU had a 3-point edge in the final 20 minutes. The Orange lost by 17, but somehow it felt like more. Marek Dolezaj describes how the loss was more deflating given the recent timeline of events.
It's really disappointing. We had a week off. We got cut off the Wednesday game, but, we didn't expect to come here and lose this game in first half. So it's really disappointing, but we need to learn from this and just move on.
Syracuse was scheduled to face Louisville last Wednesday until COVID-19 issues popped up with the Cardinals. The Orange waited nearly a week between games to be run out of South Carolina in one half. SU's previous game was against tonight's opponent, NC State. The Orange eked out a 76-73 win over the Pack. But NC State was without DJ Funderburk, who is back for tonight. Head coach Kevin Keats sees an immediate boost for this Syracuse matchup.
It's always good to have one of your better players available. How does that affect the game? How does that change the game? I don't know. But it's good. He's our best offensive rebounder. He's a low post scorer. He's a leader in the locker room, and just having him available, certainly it's got to be a positive for our team.
Sound courtesy of NC State Athletics. Like Coach Keats alluded to, the real question is, does Funderburk make enough of a difference? This time around, we'll have to see. But the real be-all, end-all could be SU shooting. It was pretty evident the Orange were not going to beat Clemson after that first half, but Syracuse is 8-2 when they shoot at least 40% from the floor. Again, this is Countdown to Tip-Off on the original home of the Orange, WAER. We're getting you ready for Syracuse-NC State, and we know each game the rest of the way is becoming a must-win. If the Orange want to make the NCAA tournament, they're going to need a number of players to step up. So how does the Syracuse bench look right now?
Absolute heartbreak for the Bulldogs as Syracuse survives. 85-84 over Bryant.
November 27th, Syracuse's unexpectedly close season opener against Bryant. And up until Saturday's game at Clemson, it was the last time Bourama Sidibe played. After the first game of the year, Jim Boeheim was asked about the alternatives to Sidibe.
Hey, Jim, I wanted to ask you about the younger centers. We saw Frank for a little bit and Jesse for a little bit. I know you haven't practiced in 2 weeks, but if you don't have Bourama, is one of those guys ahead? And, what do you want to see from them?
Anything.
for the bench, showing promise of anything is a reason for hope.
And look who's checking into the game for Syracuse for the first time since November 27th. Barama Sidibe is about to check in.
Although he played only 11 minutes against Clemson, Sidibe's return to his regular role seems to be on the horizon. But who have been the options in the meantime, and what happens if Sidibe experiences injury trouble again? Frank Anselm hasn't played since December 12th, and John Bolajak is not ready, according to Jim Boeheim.
A bowl is too small. He can't get it done out there.
So that leaves the main big man off the bench to be Jesse Edwards. He had a personal best night on January 19th against Miami.
20 minutes, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals and a block.
This is also the first time this year Jesse's played double-digit minutes.
It was a great performance, but after playing 23 minutes versus the Canes, Edwards has 4 total minutes of game action over the last 4 contests. And following the most recent NC State matchup, Boeheim sounded off on Jesse and Robert Braswell too.
I'm really disappointed Robert and Jesse got in and just, just no factor.
They did not contribute, but there seems to be a pretty obvious reason as to why. Edwards played 2 minutes in the game, and Braswell saw the floor for only 1. Robert hasn't scored more than 5 since his 12-point outing against Pitt in early January. It's tough to make your mark in such limited time. But without a doubt, the biggest controversy on the bench is Kadari Richmond.
Alan Griffin moves in towards the right block, kicks it out to Kadari Richmond on the far wing, and he makes it just before the buzzer.
Richmond is by far the most prolific bench player. He's the leader in virtually all statistical categories among non-starters, and he played big minutes in the absence of Buddy Boeheim earlier this year. Buddy's return, coupled with Joe Girard's struggles in the first few games, left some questions to be answered. To no surprise, those answers on the guard position came from a pretty stern Jim Boeheim.
Well, let me explain this to you. We've got 3 guards, and we're going to use all 3. All right?
Yet Richmond's presence is becoming undeniable. He played nearly 3/4 of the Clemson game.
I thought Kadari made a couple good defensive plays, but he's still got to learn where he can score, find his way to where he can get to the basket and score.
Richmond showed a little of his scoring abilities with 13 points against Virginia Tech, and he dropped 14 on NC State. Including tonight's second meeting of the season with the Wolfpack, there's 7 games left before the ACC tournament. With Barama being back, expect the big men on the bench to continue to sit. And maybe, just maybe, there'll be more action and less sitting for Kadari Richmond. It's also going to be interesting to see how Jim Boeheim configures the lineup, but also spread the minutes with Quincy Guerrier and Marek Dolezaj now that Barama Sidibe is supposedly well enough to play. But here's some big news. Barama Sidibe is questionable with knee soreness. This is from Syracuse basketball's Twitter account. And Kadari Richmond is questionable too due to illness, but they say it is non-COVID related. We'll take a break and be back shortly. This is Countdown to Tip-Off on WAER.